Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Josh Bart's channel. It's good to be back. I took a couple of months off. I'm really sorry. I don't know why I did that. I think I just burned out at the end of last year. But I'm super excited about this new year. I'm just so stoked to be back making music, making covers, and I want to make more videos like this as well, where I just sit down and talk about some ideas related to music, how we can become better musicians, because that's what I'm exploring. I'm trying to figure out how to be the best musician. And in particular, in this video, I wanted to talk about how we can make this year the best year that we've had for music yet. If you're anything like me, every January you get so fired up about the year ahead. This is gonna be the year that I finally practice consistently, the year that I finally start producing more, the year that I start composing more music. This is me in January. I get super excited about the year ahead, and then we go through February, and then March happens, and then I get to the end of the year and I look back and I feel like the year just escaped me. You know what I mean? And I feel like I didn't make as much progress as a musician as I wanted to in January, right? So that's what I wanted to explore in this video, because I'm honestly trying to figure this out for myself, and I wanted to share some ideas that I have with you, because you might be in the same boat. You might genuinely want to make this the best year for music you've had. So let's get into it. Okay, the first idea that I have is to have good goals, and this is probably the most common advice, right? To have goals. I mean, it can't be said enough, I reckon. Goals help to provide context to what we actually want to achieve as musicians, what we are actually working on, where we want to go. It gives us direction, right? If you're in a boat and you go out to the ocean, obviously boats go out to the ocean, but if you don't have a goal, you'll just kind of be bobbing around. Maybe you're gonna go fishing or something, I don't know. But if you have a destination in mind, you're gonna travel there so much quicker, right? We need to have goals, because that way we know what to work on. We know how to structure our time in a way that's effective. But in particular, the point I want to make here is to have really good goals. I'm speaking entirely from my own perspective here, because last year I had the stupidest goals. I'll tell you what. My goal, my main goal for my instrument, which is the keyboard, was to become a great keyboard player, or to become a great pianist, or something like that. It's a stupid goal because it's not tangible. There's no point that I can say I've achieved that goal. I'm finally there, I finally made it. You can always, become a better musician. There's always going to be people who inspire you, and you see them play and you're like, that's incredible. I'm nowhere near that level, right? So basically, that was a stupid goal because it was not tangible enough. It was not concrete enough. So I think we need very clear and concrete goals, and that's what I'm setting this year. I've only got two main goals. The first one is that I want to improve in my sight reading. Sight reading is one of my weaknesses, but of course that's not a very concrete goal, right? So I've made my goal in this area simply to practice 20 minutes of sight reading every day. 20 minutes, pretty achievable. I can definitely do that every day. It's a process-oriented goal, right? And when you have a process-oriented goal, I think it's definitely much easier to show up to. The second main goal that I have for my instrument is I want to learn how to shred. And so I have made my goal in that area to transcribe 20 solos. That, again, that's just a much more concrete goal, and I think that's definitely going to get me to where I want to go in my playing. Very clear, very simple and straightforward, and that's what I implore you to do. Take a look at your goals, make sure that they are actually things that you can achieve, things that you can work towards every single day in your practice. Okay, so how do we actually achieve those goals though? Because it's one thing to have them, it's another thing to create systems and processes to actually work towards them and achieve them. Because like I said, the whole point of this video is how can we maintain our enthusiasm and energy for our desire to become much better musicians this year and to actually make progress. I have a problem with consistency sometimes. Last year I was practicing 2 hours a day for a good portion of the year, but eventually my discipline crumbled, I burned out, and I stopped practicing. The same thing happened when I was practicing 4 hours a day, but I did that for a couple of weeks, I burned out, and I stopped practicing. See, I noticed this was a problem. This is a pattern that I noticed in my own music journey that I wanted to reverse this year, because, you know, I don't want to make the same mistakes that I did last year or the previous year. And so I've created this idea of what I'm calling the daily minimum, which essentially means the minimum amount of time that I can show up to my instrument to practice every single day, ideally for the rest of my life. I've decided for myself that my daily minimum is 1 hour. This is an idea that I'm obviously testing this year, but I wanted to share it with you as well, because you might be interested in trying this out as well. Now, the whole idea with this daily minimum is to set it up in your daily schedule. So I've basically crafted like this morning routine for myself this year that goes from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., right? Where every single morning I want to show up to this morning routine, and I've included this daily minimum inside that morning routine. Basically, this is like a guarantee that I show up to this practice every single day, so long as I get out of bed in the morning. It's a matter of routine, it's a matter of discipline, and I think once it is part of your routine, less discipline is required, because you just know that after you do this thing, you do that thing, right? We want to make it as much a part of our lifestyle as, say, brushing our teeth. Now, the next part of the daily minimum, we want to put our goals, or the main things that we're working on, in that daily minimum. So like I already mentioned, I'm working on sight reading and I'm working on improving my chops. So I've got a little bit of sight reading there, like 20 minutes, and I've got the rest of the time working on transcribing solos, you know, practicing the language and working on practicing licks and integrating them. And so this is the practical way of how we're actually going to achieve those goals that we set out. So long as we show up every single day to the daily minimum, you're going to work towards those goals and you're going to be making a lot of progress this year. At least that is the hope. It's basically relying on systems, it's relying on the process, it's relying on my daily routine to show up and to do the work and basically improve. Okay, so we've talked about setting good goals, we've talked a little bit about discipline and consistency and setting up a process and all of that stuff. And that's all good stuff. You know, we need all that stuff. But there is something that I think is significantly more important, significantly more powerful. Discipline is eventually going to fail. It does for me. Like I mentioned last year, I was practicing 2 hours for a good stretch of time, but eventually my discipline crumbled. But what's going to be there to hold us up and to keep us going when discipline eventually fails us? It's passion, right? It's passion, and it's the love for doing the thing that's going to keep us going forever. You know, this is like the ultimate cheat code. So long as you have passion and you absolutely love to do something, you're going to show up for it no matter what, because you love to do it, right? If you love practicing your instrument, you're going to practice your instrument way more. If you love producing music, you're going to produce way more music, right? You're going to be spending your time doing those things because you love to do it. You have the passion for it. Passion is like the engine. It's the ultimate driving force. So we need to nurture our passion and our love for what we do as musicians. And I think this is the most important thing. For me, this is something I really want to work on this year. Now, I've got a few ideas to share with you as to how we can maintain this passion for the duration of this year so that we are working on our music stuff throughout the whole year and making a lot of progress as musicians. The first idea I have for you is to have an exciting creative project that you're working on. It's really important to have a creative project, you know, whether that's a band or you're working on an album or you're working on composing a bunch of music for a portfolio, whatever it is. I think it's super important and super powerful to have a creative project and something that you're pouring yourself into. Because in my case, the reason why I practice, the reason why I'm constantly working on improving my skills at my instrument is because I want to create better work. You know, this is like the other side of the coin. I want to improve my skills so that I can play better music and impact more people's lives with my music. Creating and building something and working on projects is just one of the most beautiful and rewarding things, because it's like you have a garden, you know, and you're planting seeds and you're watering it every single day, which is like your practice and your routine and your system and things like that. And eventually you can see it start sprouting. You can see this plant and eventually it's going to become a tree. You're going to have a whole garden. You're going to have a tree. It's going to be bearing fruits. This is the beauty and wonder of having creative projects. For example, my main creative project is this YouTube channel. One of the things that I've committed to this year is making a new cover on this channel every single week. And so I actually have to show up to that, you know. It's also helping my discipline, it's also helping my work ethic. I have to show up to this channel every single week to learn a new song, to learn it by ear, transcribe it, to start working on my own arrangement, rehearsing that arrangement, recording it. If I'm doing that every single week, then yeah, there's so many benefits to that. And yeah, have a creative project that you're working on, whether it's a band, maybe you're building a social media platform or community, whatever it is, have something that you're building. And the last idea I have for you as to how to make it, you know, fun and enjoyable and to maintain that passion for music is to gamify it. So if you're anything like me, maybe you spent a lot of time growing up playing video games. I spent, you know, my entire high school years inside an MMORPG called Guild Wars 2, and my piano was crying in the background because I wasn't playing the piano at all. And you know, I wish I did, because I would be significantly better at music if I did that. But I'm not complaining, it is what it is. In a video game, you grind, right? You work so hard to achieve in-game rewards and in-game status and in-game better gear and this and that. And so my whole idea here is to transfer the love and joy and of the grind in the gaming world to music. Basically, we want to gamify music, because if we turn music into a game, then that's how we can love it. That's how we can really enjoy, you know, grinding and working hard and practicing and working on our projects and working towards our goals, right? A simple way that you can do this is to have a point system. I have a point system. Every time I practice for an hour, I put a point in my journal, and it's so exciting and rewarding to see those points just like add up. You could have a reward at the end of that. Say at 100 points, you're gonna buy a new piece of gear. Maybe you're gonna buy that new keyboard or that new guitar or that new guitar pedal or something like that. You can figure out how to gamify it. And I'm actually working towards making a video. I'm gonna make a video on how to gamify music, where I'll go more in detail as to how we can do this. But that's just one idea for you. Maybe you can kind of think about that as well and leave some comments if you have any ideas. Yeah, gamify music. Okay, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited for the year ahead. I hope you are as excited about it as I am. It's going to be an epic year. Stay tuned. Let me know your progress. Let me know what your goals are and all that. I'm keen to hear. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Vibe and subscribe. Peace.